Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Curious Kingdom. The film opens with the introduction of Mark, a spy who returns home to his wife Anna and their son after a long espionage mission. Although their first meeting seems normal, Mark senses a shift in their relationship. They barely talk and their bond feels distant, as if he has returned to a stranger. Hoping to reconnect, they make love. But it doesn't resolve the strange dynamic between them. Mark confesses his shortcomings as a husband, expecting a reaction from Anna, but she remains surprisingly calm, stating that they are no longer a good couple. The next day, Mark attends a briefing with his bosses, who express satisfaction with his performance. Despite their desire to continue working with him, Mark decides to quit to focus on his family, which is on the verge of collapsing. Returning home with a suitcase of money, he finds the apartment empty and falls asleep on the floor. Anna calls, informing him that she is downtown and needs time to think about their marriage. Mark's mind fills with thoughts of his wife having an affair. In a fit of anger, he searches through her belongings and discovers romantic postcards and letters from an unknown man. In disbelief, Mark contacts Anna's friend Margie, who confirms Anna having an affair. Before Margie can reveal more, the call is cut off. Anna calls again, this time expressing her desire for a divorce. Heartbroken, Mark confronts her about the affair, and she admits to it. They meet at a restaurant to settle the terms of their divorce, with Mark reluctantly giving up the apartment and custody of their son, Bob. He agrees to provide an allowance for Bob's care. The conversation escalates into an argument, and Mark vents his anger on furniture present in the restaurant. Unable to cope with the emotional turmoil, Mark turns to alcohol. After a destructive week of heavy drinking, he wakes up in a hotel room, finally sobering up and recovering from withdrawal symptoms. He returns home, unable to stay away from his family. To his surprise, he finds Bob alone in a dirty apartment. Bob shows him a ship that Anna's lover had given him a long time ago. Mark cleans up his son and waits for Anna, who arrives hours later, explaining that leaving Bob alone is not a usual occurrence. Touched by his love for his son, Mark decides to stay and take care of Bob himself, as he can't leave him in Anna's care. He urges Anna to end her relationship with her lover if she wants to continue living in the house with Bob. However, Anna starts acting erratically, slurring her words and talking to herself. Despite everything, Mark still loves her and calms her down, bathing her and putting her to bed before going to sleep himself. At midnight, Mark receives a call from a man claiming to have Anna with him, but the call abruptly ends. Mark finds a note from Anna, stating that she went to her friend's house. Realizing Anna's deceitful behavior has returned, Mark obtains her lover Heinrich's number and calls him, only to learn from Heinrich's mother that Anna hasn't been there for weeks. The following day, Mark drops off his son Bob at school and encounters his teacher, Helen, who bears a striking resemblance to Anna. At first, he mistakes her for Anna, but quickly realizes that she has different hair and eye color. Feeling unsettled, Mark heads to Heinrich's home to find Anna, but she is not there either. Heinrich claims to have changed Anna and made her embrace her true self. Enraged by this statement, Mark attempts to attack Heinrich but is overwhelmed when Heinrich demonstrates his martial arts skills and defeats him. Returning home, Mark discovers Anna in her old self, happily spending time with Bob. He interrogates her about her whereabouts from the previous night, and she lies, claiming she was at her friend's house. Their argument escalates, and Anna slaps Mark before leaving the house. Filled with pent-up anger and frustration, Mark retaliates by hitting her, causing her to bleed. Anna flees the house and nearly gets hit by a truck while walking in the middle of the road. After the truck passes, she wears a manic expression and continues walking. Mark lets her go and returns home, where Margie arrives and attempts to flirt with him, desperate to uncover Anna's true intentions. To keep a close watch on Anna, Mark hires a detective named Zimmerman, who is tasked with monitoring her every move. The next day, Anna returns home and resumes her chores as if the events of the past 2 days never happened. Mark tries to discuss her strange behavior, but she responds with vague nods and an unusual expression on her face. Overwhelmed by emotions, Mark crumbles, and Anna notices, taking an electric knife to her neck. In pain, she screams, and Mark stops her, tending to her wound and offering comfort. Later, Mark inflicts injuries on his own arms using the same tool. Anna bids him goodbye, noticing his wound but nonchalantly claiming it is unhurt. As she leaves the house, Zimmerman begins to follow her, observing her odd behavior. While on a train with groceries, Anna's bag is stolen by a man. Zimmerman finds her silence peculiar but continues to tail her until he discovers the apartment she has been living in. He informs Mark about the apartment and proceeds to knock on Anna's door. Receiving no response, he enters and finds Anna looking frightened. Posing as a property manager, he inspects the apartment and opens the curtains. Anna's erratic behavior continues as she offers him wine, which he declines. Zimmerman reaches the bedroom and is horrified to find a grotesque, tentacled creature inside. Before he can process what he has witnessed, Anna sneaks up on him and kills him with a broken wine bottle. Meanwhile, Helen visits Mark's apartment to discuss Bob's grades and ends up helping Bob with his bath. They are interrupted by the doorbell, and Mark answers to find Heinrich, who has come searching for Anna. Mark taunts Heinrich, claiming to know Anna's address, and Heinrich leaves in defeat. Mark returns inside and discovers Helen telling Bob a bedtime story. She assists Mark with household chores, which leads to an intimate moment between them. The next morning, Dan Zimmerman's former lover visits Mark to inquire about him. Upon learning that Mark was at the abandoned apartment building the previous night, he goes to the flat and discovers the tentacled creature in the bedroom. Shocked by the sight and saddened by Zimmerman's death, he attempts to shoot Anna but misses. Anna descends into madness once again, behaving manically and attacking Mark before seizing Zimmerman's gun and shooting him to death. A few days later, Mark receives a package from Heinrich containing a videotape. He plays the tape, which features Anna delivering a monologue about good and evil. Anna then appears in the apartment, continuing her erratic behavior while searching through her belongings. She reveals to Mark that she had a violent miscarriage in a subway while he was away. Anna had a nervous breakdown in the subway, screaming and crying uncontrollably, which resulted in the miscarriage. Mark witnesses the distressing sight of blood and fluids coming from Anna's body. Upon learning about Anna's traumatic experience, Mark decides to let her go after retrieving the ring and watch he had given her. He calls Heinrich's home and relays Anna's address through his mother, wanting her to be taken care of, even if it is by her lover. Without wasting a second, Heinrich visits Anna's apartment on his bike and presents her with a pack of pills that are supposed to heighten her senses. He urges her to take the pills and engage in a sexual encounter right there. He also gives her flowers, which she proceeds to show to someone in her bedroom. When Heinrich investigates, he discovers the same bloody tentacle creature and is horrified by the sight. The creature shows him decapitated body parts of its victims that Anna has been keeping. Anna then starts hurting Heinrich with her knife, causing him to flee from the apartment, bleeding through his clothes. Once things calm down, Anna returns to the creature and undresses in front of it. Heinrich calls Mark in a state of panic and asks him to meet her at the bar. Mark waits for Margie to arrive home to babysit Bob before heading to Anna's apartment. There, he finally discovers the fridge and is shocked by the monstrous state his wife has become. He experiences a panic attack, twitches uncontrollably, and eventually calms down after opening a window for fresh air. Determined to put an end to everything, he takes Zimmerman's gun and goes to meet Heinrich. Heinrich tells Mark about everything that has happened and expresses his desire to do something about Anna's illness. Meanwhile, Mark devises a plan to kill Heinrich, hoping to keep his wife's actions hidden. He strikes Heinrich with a ceramic cover and stages his death in one of the restroom stalls. Mark spreads the pills he found on Heinrich to make it appear as a drug overdose and places his head inside the toilet bowl. Afterward, he rushes to Anna's apartment and sets it on fire to erase all evidence of her wrongdoing. When Mark finally returns home after a long day, he is shocked to find Margie choking on her own blood, wounded by Anna. He moves her unconscious body into a room and discovers Anna inside the apartment. Without asking any questions, she helps Mark wash up as he is covered in blood. They seem to have reached an understanding and make love on the bathroom floor. Mark has decided to run away with Anna to escape her crimes. Some time later, Anna leaves Mark while he takes care of Margie's body. A phone call interrupts Mark, with Heinrich's mother inquiring about her son. Mark pretends to know nothing and claims that Anna has gone missing as well. He lies to Heinrich's mother, assuring her that he will ask Anna about Heinrich and inform her. He then takes Bob and leaves him with Helen. Unbeknownst to Mark, Anna has no intentions of being with him. Despite everything, she still desires to be with the creature and has harmed others because she believed they wanted to take it away from her. Upon returning home, Mark is terrorized by a disturbing sight. He sees Anna making love with the creature, prompting him to leave the house. He goes to Heinrich's mother and reveals that he knows where Heinrich's soul is. The grieving mother accepts her son's death and takes some pills, intending to be with him the next day. As Mark roams the streets, his former business associates approach him, hoping he will rejoin them. He returns to the apartment, trying to avoid them, but realizes that the area is surrounded by the police due to Margie's death. In a desperate move, he threatens a taxi driver and stages a distraction, allowing a lady in a blue dress to escape in his car. Unfortunately, he gets wounded during a shootout with the police. Injured, he flees on a motorcycle but gets into an incident. Miraculously, he manages to enter a building and is soon followed by Anna. However, they are not alone. From behind, the creature emerges, having perfectly transformed into Mark's doppelganger with green eyes and lighter hair. Anna is overjoyed, as this is her idealized version of Mark. She happily smiles at a horrified Mark, who slowly aims his gun at the creature. At that moment, the police catch up to them and shoot the couple. Anna crawls onto Mark's body, retrieves the gun, and shoots herself. Perhaps in her final act, she wanted to remain loyal, as her love for Mark was always in her heart, overshadowed by the manipulation of the creatures. The creature then threatens a woman to show it the way out and escapes through the roof. Meanwhile, Mark gets up and jumps down the stairwell to his death. Back at home, Helen is still taking care of Bob when the doorbell rings. Bob, sensing something is wrong, pleads with Helen not to open the door, but she ignores his pleas. Bob rushes through the apartment and into the bathroom, where he submerges himself face down in the tub. Outside, the sounds of sirens, explosions, and jets fill the air. Through the frosted glass door, Helen locks eyes with the figure of Mark's doppelganger. Her green eyes start gleaming intensely. It appears that Helen is Anna's doppelganger. That's all for today, folks. Like, share, and subscribe for more such content. Curious Knight signing off. Stay safe, stay curious.